Weird Way Media.
Hello, twisted humans. Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting? Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alecia. And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked.
Welcome to episode 149 of your favorite podcast. Here we are, ready to tell you about a disappearance.
Ooh. That was like a really inappropriate reaction to somebody disappearing. I mean, as in, like, I'm interested to hear it and uplift this story. I'm not an asshole.
I think you'll be super interested because today's disappearance story comes from BC, Canada.
Oh,
Very near your neck of the woods.
Oh,
and I'm
that's
curious
spooky.
to know if you've heard of it. But
okay.
before I tell you more, we're going to talk about some fun facts. Do you have a fun fact?
I do. My fun fact is super wholesome. That Switzerland prohibits the ownership of just one guinea pig. Like many rodents, guinea pigs are social creatures, and having one of them by themselves, it would get lonely, and it's considered animal abuse in Switzerland.
That's amazing.
That needs to go for rabbits and rats and mice and like all of them, but I want to assume that that's the case.
I'm really I'm inches away from saying that also needs to go for humans. But then there's a lot of humans who have children who don't need them. So I'm like, maybe
Oh,
not.
I see what you mean. And before somebody yells at me and says, well, you only have one rabbit, there's a reason for that, okay? So
I
don't be
think
a
anyone
dick.
was gonna say it.
You know what? On the off chance that they do, what is your fun fact, Sierra?
Hang on 1 second. Is there a chef's kiss emoji?
I don't know. I use the kissy one, like with the little heart that comes out all the time. That's like the closest to it.
I found the kissy one, and then when
Yeah.
it goes like this.
Oh, there you go.
I created my own.
There you go. What
Anyway.
What are you referencing Chef's Kiss to?
I'm debating with my siblings about Skyline Pizza. Skyline is Cincinnati chili, as some people may or may not know. I don't know if this is going to be in the episode or not, but anyway,
keep it in.
my
and I've also
brother-
been craving Skyline, so
my brother works at a pizza place, and he said that the owner has recently got the okay to start serving Skyline Pizza. However, the way he wants to do it is like a cheese coney pizza, and it's gonna have hot dogs on it. And I was like, no, please don't. And then my sister's like, well, I do it the Skyline Dip way, and Skyline Dip has cream cheese on it. And I said, no, Skyline Pizza is just pizza crust, Skyline chili, and cheese, and then chef's kiss. Anyway,
I agree.
My fun fact is that people who read 30 minutes per day lived on average 2 years longer than people who don't.
Well, look at us. You're one step closer to your
right?
goal of living to 122. So
Exactly. I'm getting there. Also, more about reading. It can also reduce reading for 6 minutes reduces stress by more than 68%.
wow.
So fucking read, people.
Yeah.
There's more about reading, but I'll save those for another day.
I like it though. See, I'm gonna just be like, Kevin, I need more books so that I can live longer and be less stressed.
Exactly. No, reading lately is stressing me the fuck out because I keep getting books that are limited. So my book that I just got, the Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands, I got it at the library, and it's brand new. So it's on their 7-day new list, and I have to turn it back in tomorrow morning. And I'm so upset because I'm only 50% done, and I'm like, let me go and see if maybe I can recheck it out. Hopefully someone else
Wait, do you still have it tonight? I was gonna say the minute you're done recording, go.
Yeah, I'm literally 50% done with it. 48% done with it.
Yeah,
I'm halfway through the book. But
I think you can do it.
I gotta work tomorrow.
I believe in you.
I gotta work tomorrow. It's got 400 pages.
Tell me the story. Let's go. No, I'm not rushing you.
I heard you were going to make a sangria tonight.
I did make a sangria, although I am not drinking it while I'm physically recording this. I am leaving my house after I'm done recording, so I
Oh.
am not drinking it tonight. But I have big plans with a bubble bath and some sangria and a book tomorrow when I get off work, so I'm super stoked about that. But it's going to taste that much better because I have it chilling right now, and it is orange slices, strawberry slices, honey, triple sec, a cinnamon stick, red wine, and soda water. I did
Nice.
not add the soda water. I'm gonna top it with that tomorrow because really, what's the
Right.
point in soda water if it's half flat? But I'm excited to try it because we did a red wine sangria recipe with cinnamon and honey last winter, and it was
Mhm.
really good. And this one has like the elements of like springy, citrusiness. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
It sounds very good. I thought about doing sangria with you tonight because I have just been having a fucking last couple of days.
I know.
I'm very grumpy, and I'm sorry if y'all can hear it in my voice. I'm trying not to be grumpy here. This is my safe space, but I'm just annoyed lately. And so I bought this bottle of like a wine tequila drink, like a wine based quote unquote tequila drink. It was like a sangria, and I can't remember what it's called, but it was watermelon cucumber. And I was like,
That
oh, that
sounds
sounds amazing.
delightful.
Yeah. So I bought it and I poured it, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I don't like it. I don't like it. And Jesse was like, also knows that I'm grumpy and he's not super happy either. He's like, I really want to open that bottle of red wine that we got in Florida, but it's not even a special day. And I was like, I know, me too. That's why I bought this instead. And it's not even good. And he's like, let me try it. And he was like, oh my God, I love it. It tastes like sweet pickle juice. And I was like, ew, it does. You're right. That's why I hate it. So
Um,
that's that.
Jesse's a weird one, that's for sure.
He is.
He would
Um,
drink an
right.
alcoholic beverage that tastes like sweet pickle juice. I mean, picklebacks are good, but there's nothing sweet in there.
Yeah, yeah. I like picklebacks. I like pickle juice, but sweet pickle juice, no thank you. It's weird. So anyway, let's get into this story because I am so excited to hear what you think, and to know if you know this. After a quick break to hear a promo from Wicked Ever After.
Tell me this story.
Okay, so this story, like I said, takes place in BC, Canada, on the island,
Okay, Vancouver
in
Island.
a town called Duncan. Have you been there?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Tell me about Duncan. Tell me about your experience with Duncan.
I need to look at a quick map really quick because I think it's by Nanaimo.
It is, yes.
Yes, okay. So, I've only been there once and I was about 7 or 8. I was born and raised in the lower main Victoria part of Vancouver Island, but
Hmm.
it is a small town. There's not
Hmm.
really a lot to do there. It's
Yeah.
beautiful though because it is, a coastal city and it is, British Columbia.
Right, right.
But close knit, I kind of got like Sleepy Town vibes.
Yeah. So, according to Wikipedia, Duncan is the smallest city by area in all of Canada.
There you go. I nailed it on the head.
Yes. It has a 2.07 square Kamala Harris. No, it has a 2.07 square kilometer
Jesus
area,
Christ, can you tell she's not Canadian, guys?
which is 0.08 square miles, guys.
There you
It is
go.
less than a mile square long. Okay.
That's crazy. Also, do you want to tell the folks how you originally said Nanaimo?
I don't remember,
Nana Emu.
honestly. Oh.
It was,
Nana emu.
yeah, it's
Anyway,
basically like a taunting a kid on a playground. I love it.
yes.
Okay. That's interesting though. I didn't know that.
It has officially only 5,000 residents. However, the neighboring city of Cowichan Valley, am I saying that right?
Nailed it.
Perfect. Often gets included in their greater population, which is 90,000. But technically, Duncan is only 5,000 people. At the time of this mysterious disappearance, though, the population would have been even smaller. We are going in the way, way back machine, sort of, not really, to the 1980s.
Oh.
But that's when the disappearance happened. Before we get there, let's start with the birth of the man who mysteriously disappeared. And that was in 1948. Granger Taylor was born on October 7th, 1948, on Vancouver Island. His early life was a little less than ordinary. When he was very young, his father died in a drowning accident at the family lake. And by 8th grade, Granger dropped out of school. But it's not the bad kid lifestyle you might be thinking that would normally occur after a traumatic loss of a family member and then causing to be dropped out of school, right? Granger Taylor was actually a very good kid. He was known to be a very shy and quiet person who some referred to as eccentric. He was very large in strength and stature, but he was a gentle giant. When he dropped out of school, it was because he learned all he could. He knew more about reading, writing, and arithmetic than anyone his age, and he thought there was nothing else a normal school setting could teach him. He was one of those genius types, before they classified children as geniuses.
Okay.
At the age of 12, he built a car in his backyard using only scrap parts.
Is he Sheldon Cooper?
I mean, damn near. At 14, he had mastered disassembling and rebuilding automobiles and moved on to tinkering with heavy machinery like logging trucks, farm tractors, and vintage bulldozers. If you pull up a drive and look at just the first picture for now, there is a picture of the car he built, the first one.
Oh, it's so cute.
He built that,
Is that
from
him
the ground.
too?
Yes.
Aw, that's so cool. I'd totally zip around in that.
Right? At one point in his young life, he disassembled an abandoned steam train part by part and rebuilt it to working condition in his backyard, or more specifically, his parents' backyard where he always lived, with the tracks and all. He owned a working train that he let people take rides on in his backyard.
That's awesome.
That's fucking
He
crazy.
is Sheldon
and so
Cooper.
Cool. I'm telling you, wait till the end. He is, okay? Never letting his mind idle, he then set his interests to the machinery of aircraft. He found an old abandoned Kitty Hawk fighter plane, World War II era, and rebuilt it to working condition.
That's
literally building the missing pieces that he couldn't find to purchase. He didn't have an airstrip to take it down, or even a pilot's license, but he found a way to chain it to a tree in his yard and operate it to hovering over the land. You can see the photo of that, the second picture there. He just has a fucking airplane.
What? It looks like a scene from Lost.
It's amazing, right?
Easy.
Soon, Granger set his sights even higher, literally, and became very interested in spacecraft. He watched all the shows that were obviously fake, Star Wars and Star Trek, Sheldon Cooper, but also took a more serious, studious approach to his research on the possibility of alien life and the advanced technology that spacemen would have to exist way out in the universe. Sorry, I heard some weird noises as soon as I started talking about aliens. And they're like, shut up, this is our story. And the next creation that would sit on his parents' property was a UFO, or a model of what he expected a UFO to look like. He didn't get it to operating conditions, but that was never his plan. Instead, he used the model as a sort of think tank. He would go out into his UFO and meditate, or come up with new ideas for machinery, or just sleep in it and relax. It was kind of like a treehouse, but in the shape of a UFO. And you can see that in the third picture.
I love it. I need one.
Right?
Yeah, that's super cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
Even as a young adult, Granger Taylor wasn't just a weirdo that liked weird stuff in the neighborhood. He was a good guy who believed in other people. He befriended the then teen child of one of his coworkers. This child's named Robert Keller, and became a sort of mentor to him.
Oh,
Robert, who went by Bob, by the way, so that's what I'll call him, had also dropped out of school in the 8th grade, but in the more predictable way of running around on the streets all day and getting into trouble. Granger told Bob that he could make better use of his time away from school, and he began picking him up at 8 a.m. every morning and having him help with projects to keep him busy and out of trouble. The two became very close.
oh.
Eventually, the model UFO became a space for Granger to partake in illegal substances, allegedly. Some sources said he took acid, others said that he just smoked weed. Some didn't talk about drugs at all. It's the 80s, whatever. Whatever it was, being in the UFO in an altered state of consciousness was a fun and relaxing place for Granger. He wasn't an addict, he was just experimenting. No one in his family or friend group thought of him as abusing drugs or that he had a quote unquote problem of any kind. He was a mentally sound adult. In 1980, when Granger was 32 years old, he went to his friend Bob and told him about a weird dream he had. He said that someone came into his dreams. This someone said that they needed him, his thoughts, his expertise. And he was pretty sure that the someone was from another planet.
He was probed.
The two of them talked about it and decided it was probably just a weird dream, nothing to get worked up about. But then the next day, Granger told Bob he had another visit from those people in his dreams. It was a confirmation visit. They were real, and they were coming in 2 weeks. They said that on November 29th, there would be a terrible storm in Duncan. That's when they could come and pick him up. He couldn't tell anyone of the precise location or precise meeting time because they couldn't risk anyone following him or them back to where they were going. Granger talked about this openly, not the precise details about the time and place that he wasn't allowed to tell anyone and had to keep secret, but everything else. Everyone in town knew, and they were interested. Maybe they thought he was a good storyteller and thought he was just kidding, or maybe they thought he was smart enough to know this was actually true. No one questioned him. They went along with it. Granger was going to space. Then November 29th came. It started out as just a cloudy morning, and Bob told Granger that this didn't seem like the kind of storm the strange people told him about. He said it was going to be a really bad storm. It's cloudy. It's always cloudy here. But Granger told him, just you wait. He knew things would get worse. They would have to. The spaceship had to hide in the darkness of the storm and had to drown out their sound in the sounds of thunder.
Oh, I hate that. It's so spooky.
Mm-hmm. Granger and Bob met that morning, Granger getting Bob up at 8 a.m. as they always did, but they didn't have anything planned for the day because Granger knew he'd have to get his affairs in order. He went home and wrote a note for his mom and stepdad. The note read, quote, "Dear Mother and Father, I have gone away to walk aboard an alien spaceship as reoccurring dreams assured a 42-month interstellar voyage to explore the vast universe, then return. I am leaving behind all my possessions to you, as I will no longer require the use of any. Please use the instructions in my will as a guide to help. Love, Granger." End quote. In his will, he crossed out the word death and wrote departure, as in the event of my departure. He crossed out the word deceased and wrote departed. He crossed out the part about a funeral because he wasn't going to be dead, just gone, and eventually he'd be back. As the day went on, the storm blew in hard. By noon, it was so dark out that you'd think it was midnight, Bob remembers. There was more thunder and lightning that day than anyone had ever seen on the coast of Vancouver Island. It got so bad that many power outages occurred around the city. At 6 p.m., Granger stopped in at a diner in Duncan called Bob's Grill, not related to his friend Bob, where he was a regular. A kitchen worker, Linda, said he sat at a table
Is
by
this
himself.
Bob's Burgers?
I just realized
I
Bob
have
and
the
Linda.
Big Bang Theory meets Bob's Burgers. All right.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Linda said he sat at a table by himself wearing a black t-shirt with a brown knit zip-up sweater, blue jeans, and logger boots. When he left at about 6:30 p.m., Linda noted that he didn't have a winter coat, which she thought was weird since the storm was getting really bad. And it's fucking November.
Yeah.
Like, it's cold up there.
Yeah.
November 29th. It's almost
Yeah.
December. It's fucking
Yeah.
cold.
It's winter. Yeah.
Yeah. And in a storm.
This makes me think of the lead masks case too, because they left the store without jackets, and the store owner was
Yeah.
like, "That's weird. It's like pouring rain outside. Why don't you have a jacket?"
Exactly.
Mm.
Leaving the diner, Granger visited his friend Bob one last time to say goodbye. Bob wanted to go with him, but Granger said he couldn't. He wasn't invited, and also, time passes differently on Earth than at the speed of light. Even though Granger would be gone for just 42 months, it would be something like 150 years later for Earth, because time moved differently there, and he didn't want to do that to his friend. He had too much life to live on Earth still. But Granger promised him that he would come and visit when he got back, as in visit his grave, because Bob probably still wouldn't be around after all that time. Granger left Bob's house in his Pepto-Bismol pink truck and was never seen again. The next day, Bob hoped that he would wake up and Granger would be home, but he wasn't. No one was too concerned. He just wasn't home, and no one knew where he was. Surely he'd be back. But after a couple of days of not coming back, that's when his family started to get worried. Granger's mom had actually been away in Hawaii at the time he had left. So when she came back, she was very worried no one had seen him, and the family reported him missing. The RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, started searching for Granger right after the report. They did helicopter scans of the mountains and had search dogs sent out, but nothing was found. Even his pink truck completely vanished. For a long time, Granger's mother believed he was coming back. He had said so in his note. She left the doors of her home unlocked every night for 3 years, just in case.
Oh, that's not safe. Don't do that.
I know. Meanwhile, Bob knew that Granger wouldn't be back in their lifetime, but he didn't want to upset anyone with this information. Instead, he went outside and looked at the skies each night, trying to see anything that would confirm his friend was up there. He never got the answers he was hoping for, though.
So sad.
I know. Just like Granger talking about leaving, the length of his trip was also a widely discussed topic in the town. Even though he was technically a missing person, people thought he'd be back in 42 months with some crazy interesting story about where he'd been. When that day got close, everyone talked about it. But then he didn't come back. And having lived without him for this long, people just let it go and went back to normal life. His family began to come to terms with him just being gone. And in order to have the money and the things he left to them in his will, they had him declared dead. They never had a funeral, though, because they still didn't believe he was actually dead. He said he was not going to be dead, just gone, and that there would be no point to have a funeral. So they honored his wishes and just kept waiting for his return. The RCMP was still working on the missing persons case, though, not believing the alien story. And 6 years later, they found something. On March 20th, 1986, someone noticed what seemed to be a crater formed by an explosion up on a mountain near Duncan. In what did you say it's called? Nanny Boo Boo?
Nanaimo.
Yes, in Nanaimo. Police were called in to investigate to see and confirmed that there was an explosion. They said it seemed to be a blue truck that exploded, heavily exploded. The blast radius was somewhere between 200 and 600 feet in diameter and as high as 60 feet into the air. Small bits and pieces of blue truck were everywhere. An engine block was blown 100 feet away. Mechanical parts were lying about. A tire was sitting high up in a tree, and either a license plate or a registration plate was embedded into one of the trees. There was also a small bit of sweater and bone fragments at the scene. The RCMP claims that all of these things proved that this explosion site was the answer to their missing persons case. They said the plate or VIN that was registered to Granger Taylor is what was found. The bones must have been his, and the sweater was his. But his friends and family were not convinced. No one ever saw the quote-unquote evidence of the license plate or VIN plate. The bone fragments were not tested for DNA because that technology wasn't around at the time, and they've since been lost, so they can't be tested.
Oh my God. Do better.
Bob didn't understand how a bit of sweater could have survived such a strong explosion well enough to definitively belong to Granger when literally the body didn't. And also, like, what the fuck even happened? Like, why? Why is this explosion? His truck was Pepto-Bismol pink, not blue, by the way. But
yeah,
police didn't give many answers to all of this. Some people say that the vehicle was probably first blue when it was built, and it was probably considered blue on the registration, like on the VIN. Bob remembers it being brown before Granger had him paint it pink. But even the brown could have been paint, and if it was, then the brown and the pink paint probably melted off in the explosion, leaving only the original blue color behind. But Canada's like not as open about stuff as America, I guess, because like you can't find the actual registration of this. I don't know if it was actually blue. That's just what people are like, well, maybe it was originally blue. Who knows? Because they're not telling anybody.
yeah.
They're not sharing this evidence, okay? It was listed as an accidental death related to some sort of plan or experiment gone wrong, some sort of mechanical error, since Granger toyed with things like that often. It was his own doing. He was known to own dynamite after all. But he owned dynamite only to blow up stumps in the yard to clear space on the land. His friend Bob said that there was no way he owned enough dynamite to create an explosion that big. And that when he was at Granger's house visiting the family after the disappearance, he saw the dynamite Granger owned still in the shed on the property where he kept it. So maybe he bought new dynamite, but if he did, wouldn't there be a record of that? Like, wouldn't police know? Also, everyone knew that Granger was too smart to make mistakes. He was calculated and careful with everything he did. He would never be capable of doing something so careless as to cause an explosion of this magnitude. If Granger has actually been at this explosion site, if that was indeed his truck, then he had to have caused the explosion on purpose. But why? The most widely believed theory is that he was having a mental health issue. Either he wanted to kill himself this way on purpose and did so, telling the story of the aliens because he didn't want his friends and family to be sad, or he, in a mental health crisis, actually believed in those aliens coming for him, and when they didn't come, instead of facing the embarrassment of admitting to his friends and family that he had a mental health crisis, he killed himself. But anyone who knew Granger personally said this was impossible. They said he loved life. He loved his mom. He loved his dog who was left at home. He loved the community. He loved that the community loved his sense of adventure and the cool things he built for them. He didn't believe in suicide and has actually on occasion called it a coward's way out. He believed in living life for the journey, not for the destination.
That's so beautiful.
I know. Granger's close friends and family believe different theories. He had friends in Colombia and once talked about moving there to live with them. Maybe when the aliens didn't come, he blew up his truck and moved there and is still alive. Maybe that explosion site had nothing to do with him at all, and his pink truck and him are both now in Colombia. Another theory is that maybe the government took Granger, Werner von Braun style, von Braun being the Nazi who was so smart that the American government, took him in to work for them despite his crimes because he was just too much of an asset to kill. Because America. Maybe they blew up his truck to fake his death. Or again, maybe the explosion site isn't even his truck. We don't fucking know because the police have not proved it. Or maybe he really is off with the spacemen, the aliens. Maybe that was the spot he met them, and his vehicle was accidentally or purposely blown up by the alien spaceship when it took off, with Granger safely on board. Vancouver Island is known to have very many reputable UFO sightings. I have actually found a website that shows the many different reported UFO sightings in the area. The last picture in the drive is a screenshot, if you want to pull that up. Those are all those green dots, all those little spaceships, those are all reported UFO sightings.
Nice.
Right near you. Like,
yeah,
they're fucking there.
In fact, there's a hot spot above me.
That's
between White Rock,
insane.
Surrey, Richmond. Yeah. Wow.
That's so many.
That is a lot. I believe it though, because there's been instances of me and Kevin seeing shit that can't be explained by regular spacecraft.
Oh my gosh.
So, like I told you about one when we first moved in here and we were standing on our deck and like we ran outside and around the building to like keep seeing whatever it was because it was moving that way. And by the time we went outside, it was like gone. But it was super bright, super large, and super fucking loud. So I was like, what is that? Oh, who knows?
So crazy.
Aliens.
Mm-hmm. Bob still believes, undoubtedly, that Granger is with the aliens and will come back someday when he is no longer alive, and that he will visit his grandkids or great-grandkids and tell them all about his experience. As for where the case stands, no one is currently looking for Granger Taylor or for answers anymore. According to the RCMP, the case is solved. And the train that he rebuilt in his backyard is now on display at the British Columbia Forest Museum in Duncan. So you're going to have to check that out.
Yeah, that's so wonderful because he is
a very talented
person. I've heard his name, but I have not heard this story. I knew none of the details. And the only reason I remember his name so vividly is because Granger is such a unique first name. So, yeah. But that was crazy. It had elements of aliens that I wasn't expecting. And honestly, it has to be either aliens or some sort of government cover up because there's been instances of people being assets where they've literally been snatched up and taken away, or people that are so smart or possess ideas that are too advanced that would totally shift the planet, like the person that allegedly found a way to run our cars on water instead of gasoline.
Yeah,
and was just killed. Mysteriously killed. So, I mean, that is very possible. Like, somebody caused that explosion to make it look like one of his experiments gone wrong and took him away or actually killed him. But I love to believe in the alien theory because if he was of a higher mindset and able to think and like have such an open mind that other forms of life are able to communicate with him because you like the fifth kind or not, was it the fifth kind that you covered a really long meditate to communicate? Yeah. Oh, that brought me back like 3 years ago. But yeah, like totally like that. And the whole like him being asleep and them coming to him in his dreams. There's been other
Right.
people who have reported over the years of having communications in that way. So, I mean, it could very well have been a mental illness, and yeah, he could have caused some sort of explosion that had gone wrong in his chaotic thinking or downward spiral, but I think he was too smart for that. Like,
Yeah.
not to say that people that suffer from mental illnesses aren't, but I feel
Right.
like he would not have made a mistake even if he was suffering from something.
Yeah, the biggest thing that makes me believe it wasn't a mental health crisis is in reports, every single person who knew him personally said that's not possible. And I know that, it's hard to tell signs of that, but also they know him better than the police do. They know him better than sleuths do. They know
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
personally. And everyone was like, there's no way he would have wanted to kill himself. Like, he would have taken other steps before getting to that point if he did.
Yeah.
Like, he was just too smart for that.
Yeah.
As in, he knows how, even in a mental health crisis, he would know how to go and get help, to go and make himself better.
And that's what I meant when I said like he wouldn't make a mistake if he was working on something that exploded.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going aliens on this one.
Yeah. I don't know. I like that it's aliens. I dislike that if it's aliens, we might not ever know. He left in 1980. What's 150 years after 1980? 2130. Yeah, we're not going to be around. That sucks because I would like to be here when he comes back.
We'll be around. We just won't be of this plane anymore. We'll get our answers. You and I will be like in the afterlife eating popcorn, just like waiting in Nana Emu to see if he returns.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's definitely what it's going to be. But that was so good. I loved it. Thank you for bringing that to my neck of the woods. Thank you for sharing such a beautiful mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely want to go to the museum and see the train he built because that's cool. He is Sheldon Cooper.
For real.
I'm convinced that the character Sheldon Cooper was written after Granger.
That's it. I agree. We solved it.
That was a great story. And I
Thank you.
hope that somehow, some way we get answers about what really happened. And hopefully it is the happy ending that we are predicting.
Yeah.
And speaking of happy endings and happy things, do you have something you're looking forward to or something you're grateful for? And yes, I realized that was a double entendre and Sierra is pinching the bridge of her nose. Like, did she seriously just say that, guys?
Well, because I'm having a terrible day.
Yes.
A terrible last couple of days. I bought a new bathing suit. That's happy. Today was my off day. And I thought I was taking my daughter to gymnastics. And the last couple of days, when I take her to gymnastics, I go to the beach and I just lay on the beach and read. And it relaxes me. And so I was like, last time I went to the beach, I wore an old bathing suit and it did not fit well. And I felt weird. So I went to this Target and I got myself a new bathing suit and I really like it. And then I couldn't wear it because gymnastics got canceled, which is fucking annoying, but whatever. I have a new bathing suit now.
For the next time you're in Florida.
Yeah.
/ if you just want to lay in your hammock in your backyard and read.
It's a little too chilly up here right now.
Is it? I don't know. I assume the South is balmy all the time.
It's pretty warm in Florida, but up here it's kind of chilly.
Okay. Not time yet.
Not yet. I mean, it was, and then it wasn't. It just
are like
changing.
Your summer in Alabama.
It's supposed to be right fucking now. Technically, it's spring, but usually it's hot right now. Mother Nature's just pissed off. It was hot last week, and then it got really cold, and now we had a fucking frost advisory 2 nights ago.
Mother Nature is pissed off,
and
she's going
she's
back and
so
forth.
mad. Yeah,
like it's freezing today, and last weekend it was like almost 20 degrees Celsius here. So
yeah,
which is pretty like a nice, perfect t-shirt weather. Where you
Right.
need a jacket, but you still need pants,
Yeah.
One of those days. But or a Sierra's favorite outfit combination, sweater and shorts.
That's what I'm wearing right now.
I would never know. You could be wearing clown pants and no one would ever know. It's the power of Zoom.
It is.
I'm just looking forward to tomorrow being Friday. All week, Kevin has been like waking up or I've been waking up and going to the kitchen to start my day. And he'll come out of his room to say hi to me because he starts work an hour earlier and has been like, it's Friday, like being all cute and cuddly. And I'm like, stop it. It's not Friday. It's Wednesday. And
Oh
now
my
I'm sad it's
gosh.
not Friday. So tomorrow that we are recording this is actually Friday.
Watch
And
him
I'm
not come in tomorrow.
excited. Well, he kind of fucked with my subconscious because I slept through my alarm this morning. I like
Oh
convinced
gosh.
myself that it was the weekend. And when I
Yeah.
woke up, it was the time I was supposed to leave the house and I was sleeping on my phone. So
Oh my goodness.
clearly I reached over and shut it off and then put it in the cave of my bed. So,
Right.
yeah. But I'm very excited that tomorrow is Friday and I get to have sangria and have a bath and read my book and have a little bit of me time. So
Yay.
much needed. We really love and appreciate all of you guys so much. And if you're craving more Twisted content, you can come check out our Patreon. There's lots of fun stuff there for you.
So
And if you
much.
want more of me in the meantime, I was a guest on the day that this episode is released on our friend Ashley Richards' feed for That So Fucked Up podcast. She told me about a cult story. So you should go and check that
Nice.
out as well. And we will see you next week for my cult episode. And in the meantime,
Keep it twisted.
Twisted and Uncorked is a proud member of Weirding Way Media. Hosted and produced by Sierra Zorn and Alecia Watson. If you like the show, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you are listening now. It really is the best way to spread the word. You can check out all things Twisted on our website, twistedanduncorked.com, and we will see you next Tuesday for a brand new episode.